we want to look at HR as a business architect today, designing a winning business model. Okay, that's my big head right there. For the longest time, HR was mostly seen as an administrative function, handling, some of the things we handle in our organizations, payroll, keeping employee files in order. What else do we do? Making sure, policies are adhered to. And while that still matters, the world of work has changed. And so we must, as HR professionals, if you want to remain relevant. And today, HR is not just about processes and compliance anymore. We are being called into a much more strategic role where we're not just supporting the business, we are helping to shape it. Now, we are expected to show up as a real strategic partner, a partner that actually help to define how the business runs and grows. And what that means practically is that HR has now moved from being just a support arm to becoming what I always refer to as a business architect, as someone who really understands the business model, who contributes meaningfully to strategy, and who helps to design how value is created, how value is delivered, and how value is sustained in the organization. And to do that, we must have a mindset shift that we must be able to shift our mindset. So there must be a mindset shift, and we have to move from just focusing on administration to thinking strategically. We also need to move from being a process person to, purely a process person to focusing on, real value creation, moving from acting as internal service providers to really showing up as co-creators of business. And this evolution is not what we call nice to haves. It's a must to have. And for some of us that have not been doing it, please, you need to urgently, as soon as possible, start running this. Now, let's move to the next slide. Why is this evolution important? Why is this evolution important? All of the businesses we run today are facing disruptions. I know your organization is also facing, left, right, and center. Volatility, economic volatility everywhere, rapid digital transformation, workforce expectations shifting fast, and the competition is fierce. For some of you that are still being paid, congratulations. Please say thank you to your boss, members of the management team, the board, for still being able to pay your bills, because the competition is fierce, dogs eating dogs these days. And in that kind of environment, what makes the difference is basically agility, we're talking about innovation, talking about a workforce that is completely aligned with the direction the business is heading. That's the business direction, and that's where you come in as HR. We have seen several T-shirts, several mantras. HR is everything, we're a doctor, we are architects, we are so many things, that uniquely positioned to influence all of that, the alignment of what we do with the business direction. So when we understand the business model, well, excuse me, when we understand the business model, when we align, our talents with growth strategy, when we build structures that enable innovation and execution, what we are really doing is architecting success, designing success, executing success, and this is long-term sustainable success. So let's move to the next slide. Now, at the end of the day, we're looking at why this is urgent now. Let's not forget why is this urgent. At the end of the day, a business model is really just the logic behind how an organization creates, delivers, and captures value. Simple. How you create value, how you deliver value, how you capture value. That's what it is. It's purely a blueprint for how your company operates, and frankly, how it's going to stay alive, how it's going to survive. So if you have been running your business without a model, then you need to rethink, because your competition that runs on a model have a blueprint that they follow that delivers success. How you make money and how you sustain yourself over time. This is, everything inside a model. So put simply, who exactly are we serving? What are we offering? How are we getting it, our offerings, to those we are serving? How are we going to generate revenue from all of that? This is the answer a business model will help us, provide. Who we are serving, that's our customers. What are we offering them? How do we get what we are offering to the customers, and how are we going to generate revenue from that? So we've discussed our involvement in the whole of this. I'm still going to stress our involvement, why HR is involved, because you feel this is a strategy, the strategy department. For some of you that have strategy department, you feel the strategy department should handle this. But remember, I said HR has moved beyond just hire and fire, beyond administrative, HR administrative roles, compliance, and all of that too. We have moved to a strategic partner where we architect, where we design what the business is actually supposed to be doing. So the next slide. Now, for us who want to show up as strategic partners, we need to move past surface level understanding and actually engage with the structure of this model. The framework a lot of businesses use is this one we are going to discuss today. We're going to actually work on today. It's going to break down the model into a few key components, and I find this really, really helpful. I've designed so many. There's the lean canvas, there's the business model canvas, there's the lean canvas. What I will share with you today is the lean canvas, and that's what we'll work on. So first is the value proposition. What is unique? The unique value that we are bringing to the table. So you need to capture that. What problems are we solving? And what needs are we meeting for our customers? You need to know that. You need to know the business of your organization. That's one. And when we look at customer segments, who are the people or businesses we are targeting? What defines them? What are their needs? Some of you here are entrepreneurs. Some of you have side hustles. This will also help. So we're looking at the value we are bringing to the table. We're looking at the customers we are serving. We're looking at revenue streams. How exactly is the organization making money from the value it's providing? Is it charity we are doing? No, we are not doing charity. So you need to be concerned about how we are also making money. That's how you become a robust, HR professional in your organization. And beyond revenue, we have the key activities. The most crucial thing, that's the critical thing we must do to make this model work. That's the key activities. And that could be product development, marketing, service delivery. Exactly what are your key activities, that you do, to make the model work. Then next, we have the key resources. And these are basically the assets that you need to put in place to deliver value. It could be people, capital, technology, you name it. All the, the quality of these, like workforce planning. Now, it goes beyond workforce planning, material planning, resources planning. So these are the key resources you need to achieve your goal. Now, this looks vague until you write them down. We will get there. Please just assimilate this. All of these discussions we terminate in the next 27 minutes. Then we go into the hands-on session where I just plug all of this in. We're going to throw them open, but just capture the basics, the fundamentals of what we are discussing. If you capture this, and this has helped me a lot, it looks difficult before you start capturing. The moment you capture them on paper, sincerely, you have a smooth sail in life, even for your own personal life. You put your life on autopilot and you just start. Um, there's a place of tweaking and retweaking, but at least as you scale, you tweak. As you scale, you revisit and you adjust. But at least you have a plan, a direction for your life. Everything is on paper. So when you come across some key resources that you don't have, you recognize them. You know exactly what you're looking for. You know what you have. You know what you need that you don't have currently. So you know the kind of relationships you are pursuing. So when you see them, because you have written them down, you are not missing those relationships. You are not abusing those relationships. If purpose is not known, abuse is inevitable. If you come across people in life and you don't know their purpose, you are going to abuse that relationship. But because you have written this thing down, you know exactly if he's a lawyer you are looking for. When you come across lawyers, you are looking for which of them is looking like the person you need. But if you have not captured these things down, you don't know you need a lawyer. You come across so many lawyers, you just shake hands with them, you drink tea with them, and you say bye-bye. So that is the essence of, developing this model. And I'm trusting God that, you catch more illumination as we proceed. Now, we talked about key resources. Now, we're talking about partnerships. I've mentioned it now. What are partnerships? External players that are vital to your ability to deliver. Vendors, suppliers, consultants, even strategic, alliances that you're going to form. So you need to also document this. And then the cost structure. What are the major expenses, involved in making all of this happen? You need to capture that too in details. So as HR professionals, when we understand these deep building blocks, we are in a better position to align talent, structure, and culture. Can you see that now? If you understand all of this, you can see this is not a strategy issue now. This is not an issue for the strategy department. For some of us that have strategy department, for some of us that don't have strategy department, where does this sit in our organizations? Can you drop in the comment section? Where does this sit in our organization? Business model development. Who does that? Please drop in the comment section. Who did develop models for you? I'm in the comment section. Please, I like to know who does this. Marketing. Oh, great. Omolola, the various business units heads in conjunction with the CEO. Okay, CFO and HR. Okay, great. Iggy, thank you very much. Okay. So we can see now that even the HR is involved, according to Iggy, in her organization. So when you understand how this works, you are able to, okay, business development department. Wow. Oh, okay. Business development department. Okay, that's great. So you're able to align culture with talent and structure. You're able to align all of this with what the business is actually trying to achieve. And that's when, your work shifts from being a reactive, responsibility to truly a proactive one. Call management for learning. Thank you very much. Commercial units. If you are okay. Head of business and marketing. Okay, great. So that's when you shift from being a reactive to truly a proactive and a business unit. And that's where we start creating real business impact. I've said it times and again. I've taken, I recently took, I think, yes, a certificate on finance. Yes, with a background in engineering, now delve into HR. Now I'm taking courses around economics and finance now, because you need to be able to speak, in EBITDA, the language of the bottom line. That's the only thing CEOs, understand. I run my firm, Africa Tech Hub, and no matter what you do, even though I have sentiments for HR, but no matter what they do, if I can't pay salary at the end of the day, if there is no profit, if my bottom line is reading red, I mean, no matter the grammar you are bringing, I'm not buying into all of that. So if we are going to have a seat at the table, we need to understand all of this and be able to speak the language that the CEO will actually appreciate. So let's move to the next slide quickly. Now, why HR needs to understand the organization's business model. I've dwelt on this, so I just touch on it. People are at the center of every successful business model. No matter how brilliant your strategy is, without the right people in the right roles, executing um, in the right environment won't hold up. And that's why, as HR professionals, you must understand the organization's business model. I mean, you need to know how the company actually makes money, who you are serving, your competitive edge, because without that understanding, it's going to be tough, if not impossible, to align all of your people's strategies with what the business is actually trying to achieve. It will be tough. There will be misalignment, and it will look like you don't know what you are doing. So every decision we make in HR, whether it's around hiring, developing capabilities, shaping culture, or structuring the organization, or whatever it is, it all needs to tie back to the core value the business delivers. It all needs to, if you can't speak naira and kobo to the CEO, the CFO will keep frustrating you. Yes. Some of the frustrations we have is because we can't, some of the budgets, some of the proposals we are making, we are not able to quantify, the ROI. We're not able to quantify it. Nothing concerns the CFO with engagement score, all of these metrics that we create just to cause confusion in HR, as valuable as they are, they are not creating butterflies in those guys' stomach. What they want to hear is, what is the impact? What is the ROI? What's the value? All of these expenses, that you want to incur, because as far as they are concerned, it's expenses, and we need to move beyond just being seen as a cost center. I've said that times and again. So if you don't know all of this, they're going to keep seeing you as a cost center, and that won't be good for your reputation. It's not going to be good for your reputation. If we don't get the business model, we risk doing great HR work that doesn't actually move the business forward. And, in today's environment, where markets are shifting, there's digital disruption everywhere, customers' expectation evolving by the minute. Today, this is what they want. Tomorrow, that's not what they want again. We can't afford to operate in silos. We need to build talent and culture that are ready for this space, this complexity, this level of competition. And now, when we are informed, really informed about what the business runs, you start hiring not just based on skill set, but based on business fits. That's hiring the right people. Hiring the right people. You start building learning and development initiatives that are aligned with where the company is going, not just where the company has been, developing future-ready skills. To begin to shape, the culture that does not just feel good, but actually drives innovation and supports growth, a growth-focused culture. You are able to design reward systems that, reinforce performance in a way that matter for the bottom line. Rewards that drive results. So all we're talking about, we're not just talking about understanding model for curiosity's sake. We must be able to drive value and be be able to position ourselves as true business partner, not just in title, but in impact. So many of us here are HR business partners. What impact does the organization feel your impact? If you go this route, I'm sure you'll be able to tell them what they should do and what they should not do. I mean, your partnering will make more sense. It's going to make more sense. So let's move to the next slide because I want to finish this quickly and see if we can save some time within this 1 hour of discussion before we move to the other part. I want us to leave this meeting by 8. Now, your role in business model design. What exactly is your role? You are in a unique position, and I know you know, to shape how the organization operates, how it scales, and how it stays competitive. One of the most powerful ways that you can do this is by playing an active role in the design and execution of the business model itself. Playing an active role in the design and execution of the business model itself. So now, how are you going to step into that kind of role with confidence? Let's start with the first piece: talent, strategy, and alignment. Talent, strategy, and alignment. Now, this is where HR really starts to create visible value. This is where that's the talent, strategy, and alignment. Our job is not just to hire people and fire people. It's to make sure that the right people are in the right roles at the right time, doing the right things that drive the business forward. Our job is not just to hire any kind of persons, but to make sure that the right people are in the right roles at the right time, doing the right things to drive the business forward. That means you are not just reacting to vacancies. You are thinking ahead. You are identifying and attracting talent whose skills, mindsets, and growth potentially actually, align with where the business is going. And this is not difficult because you already have on paper as a plan where the business is heading. You've designed it. You've designed it. So you are developing a talent strategy that supports more than just a day-to-day operations. You're thinking about value creation. You're thinking about customer satisfaction. You're thinking about, long-term competitiveness and, a host of others. And most importantly, you are building leadership pipelines. You are building leadership pipelines, not just short-term gaps. You are preparing future-ready leaders and specialists who will help evolve, the business as it grows and changes. I mean, no business strategy succeeds without the right people behind it. So a well-aligned talent strategy is not just a nice to have, it is a real engine room that powers everything in the organization. So talent strategy and alignment is key. Now, the next one, workforce planning and agility. Workforce planning and agility. Now, business models are not just quick fixes. They're not just quick fixes. They evolve. So market shifts. Tech disrupts everything. Customer expectations change. They are not constant. And if the business model is not evolving, then the workforce has to evolve right along with it. It has to evolve right along with it. And this is where HR comes in. Our role is to stay ahead of the curve, to really understand where the business is going. And then we start thinking, what kind of workforce will we need to get there? What capabilities are we, going to need to move to the capabilities we need more of, the skills that might become obsolete, so that we start developing new skills. What are the gaps, etc., etc. And that's where data comes in. That's where data comes in. And when I'm talking about data, I'm not just talking about doing head counts, reports, attrition numbers, et cetera, et cetera. We need to be using insights to project where the opportunities and risks are, and then you act on them. Using insights to project where you see opportunities, and then you move in that direction. And beyond all of this, we need to start building flexibility into our people strategy, whether it's encouraging cross-functional capabilities, designing agile work models, or reshaping the structures of teams so that they can respond quickly when things shift. So we need to build flexibility into our people strategy, because at this point, we can't continue to use agility, say agility every, as a buzzword. It has to be a real strategic advantage for your organization. Businesses that can move fast and adapt smartly are the ones that will eventually thrive. They're the ones thriving now, and they are the ones that will eventually thrive. And so, what's your role in this? You are the ones to make that possible. You are the ones to make that possible by helping your organization build not just the workforce it needs today. I said that times and again, not just the workforce it needs today, but the ones it's going to need tomorrow. So next, organizational design. Organizational design. Now, a brilliant business model can still fail if the structure behind it is not built to support it. Yes or no? It's going to fail if the structure behind it is not built to support it. I've seen it happen times and again. Times and again. Great ideas, solid strategy, all these big things we desire to do, but the organizations simply can't deliver because it's either, it's too bloated, too rigid, or they're not just aligned. And as HR, we have a responsibility here to not only fill roles, but to design how the business works. And that means, we will need to be thinking, is the structure lean enough to be efficient? Shey structure is it agile enough? Is it lean enough? Is it lean enough to be efficient? But also, as lean as it is it flexible enough to scale? Is it lean enough to be efficient, but also flexible enough? As lean as it is it also flexible enough to scale? Are roles clearly defined? Are reporting lines supporting speed and accountability? Or, are they slowing us down? All of these bureaucracies we have created, are they slowing us down? Are we breaking down silos? Are we making it easier for teams to collaborate across functions, to share knowledge, to innovate? Or are we unintentionally just building bridges? Account department, no one agree for marketing, no one agree for the IT department, Is this what we are doing? Are we making it easier for all of them to collaborate across functions, to share knowledge, so they can power this model you are working on? Or, we have deliberately created walls, unknowingly. Maybe I know it's unknowingly. Some of us, I know we will not use our hand to do ourselves. I mean, if the structure is not enabling the strategy, there's something has to change. behavior, structure, and let me add culture to it. It's not enabling the strategy. That means, according to Peter Drucker, your culture has swallowed your, strategy for breakfast. So because I've mentioned culture, let's just move to culture that drives strategy. One of our biggest, levers is the ability to shape culture intentionally, not just letting it happen by accident, not leaving it, to core values alone and feel people will respond. Culture is shared values, not written core values, shared. How we behave in this organization. So you are not just letting it happen by accident. The accident will be too colossal. So we have to create an environment that supports all of the things you believe in. High performance, that encourages innovation, that is agile enough to respond to change without falling apart. Yes, you have to be intentional about creating that environment and not just leaving it alone for the core values written, on maybe on notice boards and, other places. So we are going beyond having motivational posters, or core values on the wall. You are you are thinking about the actual behaviors people are rewarded for, the kind of leadership we develop, the way decisions are made, the way people treat each other on a tough day when alignment is not aligning. Ew, when marketing is not marketing, when sales is not selling, the way people treat each other on a tough day, putting your feet to the ground that love must prevail here. We must unite. We must not bring toxicity into the whole system, even under pressure. That's the kind of thing that delivers results. So, performance and reward system. Performance and reward system. Now, people tend to focus on what they are rewarded for. If you want your team to drive the business forward, then your performance and reward systems needs to be strategically aligned with the business goals. They have to be aligned with the business goals. You are not just after 3 years you promote. After 3 years you promote. Whether they have helped you achieve your organizational goals or not, as far as they are concerned, they have scored a B or an A. So we see individuals performing, meeting their targets, and the organization is not meeting the organizational target. So something is wrong with your performance and reward systems then. Something is wrong. So you're not just tracking activities or checking off tasks. You need performance management system that actually measures what matters. What matters. The kind of outcomes that will move the needle for the business, and not just how busy people are, but about the strategic impact they are having on the organization. The entire reward structure, compensation, bonuses, promotions, recognition, all of it, must be tied to the clear business outcomes. They must be tied to clear business outcomes. I know some of us, again, we're not doing badly in this area. Because, this is 2025. The organization is still running an annual performance management system that, only ticks. I don't even know what you are taking. I know none of us is on this call is like that. And if there's any of you here that your organization is not measuring what is supporting, the business outcome, then something is wrong. So when people understand that their performance truly matters and that their efforts will be rewarded accordingly, that's when you see engagement level soar, really soar. And engagement will lead to commitment, and commitment will ultimately drive the business success. Okay, we have very few minutes because again, that practical session is important to me. And so let me just rush these core capabilities. How many more slides do I have? Okay, I have 2 more slides. So I'm going to rush the core capabilities you must develop um, for you to be able to drive this. And we look at the practical steps to becoming a business architect, and then we go into the workshop. First, business acumen and financial literacy. If you're going to shape the future of your organization, then you need to understand how the business actually makes money. I've told you times and again that I enjoy taking financial courses now. You need to grasp not just the people side of things, but the financials too, and this is non-negotiable. You need to know your organization's key products, the services they render, their market, the customers, who you are serving, and how you are actually creating value. Then you need to get comfortable with financial statements like profit and loss, balance sheets, cash flow reports. Some of you that ran into HR because of mathematics, congratulations, you don't have a choice. You need to go back to it. Except you just want to remain an officer, you don't want to secure a real seat at the table. You don't want to secure a seat at the table. And when you are engaging in conversations around revenue, cost margins, ROIs, rather than just focusing on recruitment or policy, you're focusing on ROIs, you're focusing on revenue, etc., etc. When you start doing all of this, that's when you become a true business partner. Somebody that the CEO wants to see and ask advice from. Not so if it's only the CFO and the sales department and the marketing department, they are calling to a meeting and they only call you when they want to fire people or they want to issue query, then you know that you're not speaking to what those at the table are speaking to. So I know God will help you, or and all of us on this call, so that we don't make a mockery of this profession. Now, data-driven decision making. We need to start using data to make those critical decisions around hiring, retention, engagement, learning, etc. The days of just guessing or zooming are over. I did a video. Yes, I think it's on this session. I think we even had, the series was we had about 5 sessions, on HR analytics. If you go to our YouTube page, it's still there. So if you don't know much about this, please, I'm encouraging you to visit it and get familiar with Excel. Get comfortable, digging deep, into Excel, because you're going to need, you'll thank me later for that. So track trends, measure the impact of your HR initiatives and communicate that, in a single dashboard. Understand what's actually driving results. You need to be able to, show how HR initiatives are impacting business outcomes, how your initiatives are impacting business outcome, and you're able to communicate that. So they don't think you don't know what you are doing. You just collect data for collecting sake. Present it in a way that influences business direction. Whether you're using dashboard, employee survey, or performance metrics, you must take that data, interpret it, and use it to drive strategy. So I just leave that there because of our time. Now, next, number 3 on the screen, design thinking and innovation management. Design thinking is basically human-centric approach where you solve problems with empathy, experimentation, quick iteration, etc., etc. And think of it like using a flexible, agile mindset to navigate challenges, rather than sticking to rigid processes. You are innovating HR processes to improve experience, that's employee experience, to drive performance, and to, boost retention, innovating processes that has never been done before does not mean you cannot do it. And don't forget to co-create solutions with your people, not just creating solutions for them, but co-creating side by side with them. So HR is not where you do top-down decision making. You need to engage your employees in shaping solutions that work for everyone. And when you embrace, these innovations, you take HR from just managing policies and procedures to becoming a powerhouse of fresh ideas. Yes, fresh ideas, giving your organization a competitive edge. And that's where you really start to drive business value. Now, number 4, strategic workforce analytics. What do we mean? We're talking about using analytics to predict workforce trends. Things like succession risk, skills gaps, or even what drives employee engagement. What drives employee engagement? You need to know what's coming, not just what's happening right now. What is coming? Being a step ahead of other people, ahead of even the problem that is about to come. That's what makes you tick. That's what earns you respect in that organization. Then link all of that talent data to key organizational performance metrics like productivity, profitability, innovation, et cetera, et cetera. That's the real value of, you are bringing to the table. Making sure that the right people with the right skills are in the right place to drive business outcomes. And finally, creating talent dashboards that gives your leadership team the insights. Again, for some of us who do not know how to do this, please go to our YouTube page. My name, Sean Olabode Badiru. You'll see those videos there. Go under professional development courses. You'll see the various videos on HR analytics there. So you can just watch and you're going to enjoy what you see there. We took them in this class. So creating those talent dashboards that will help your leadership team with the insights they need to make smart decisions, faster decisions. No more waiting for problems to surface, putting yourself in positions to act before, they even become an issue. That's where we need to step into. And last but not least, on the core capabilities you must develop: change management and transformation leadership. Your responsibility is clear. And I know guiding your people through so many things in the organization, especially digital transformation, restructuring, cultural shifts, or even periods of rapid growth. Yes, guiding them through, leading people, not just bringing them in and chasing them out. Leading them, helping them to navigate, being a leader, being in the front, going in the direction and pulling everybody along, pulling marketing along, pulling IT along, pulling sales along, pulling R&D along, all of those other departments, going in the direction the organization is heading, and then pointing to that direction and then pulling everybody along. Yeah. The way you manage these phases can make or break the success of that organization. I mean, who else will do it for you? It's the CEO. That's where you transit, to business leadership. When you show competence and you show that, yes, I know the business of this organization, I'm committed to driving results, and, all of us can follow me, and nobody will engage without communication. Dr. Minsasi Adeswa that taught me that about 10 years ago. Employee engagement for strategic, for lasting business impact. I can't forget that course. Communication. So you're able to communicate clearly, manage any resistance that comes up, and provide that steady support your people need when things feel uncertain, when there seems to be a bleak. Change is always uncomfortable. Nobody wants change. Everybody wants to stay with the familiar. But with the right leadership, you can make it smoother and you can make it better. And it's not just about managing change. You need to lead it. Like I said earlier, being in the forefront and driving it, going in the direction and pointing to where you are going and asking everybody to follow you. That's when you become relevant, really, really, really relevant. Any need this sit at the table. And your role in building change-ready teams, fostering resilience, ensuring your team, your workforce remains adaptable, is really, really critical. At the end of the day, the success of any transformation efforts will always and continue to hinge on how effectively you prepare, how effectively you engage, how you support your people through the process. And that's the real power of HR in times of change. So I've taken enough. So the practical steps in becoming an architect: number one, develop business acumen within HR. Develop a business acumen within HR. We've said it times and again, and we can't afford to operate in silos anymore. That's sure now. If we are going to align HR to where the business is going, then we need to deeply understand how the business runs. So I'm going to leave it there. I mean, what are we selling? How are we making money? I've dwelt on this, since, so I leave that there. Then number two, collaborate across functions. Collaborate across functions. Participate in business model innovation. Use people data to influence strategy. Design talent pipelines that support growth. Implement agile HR practices. Navigate the Nigerian business landscape. There's no time to explain all of this, but I wish I had time, to really dig deep. But I know we all understand. We all understand. So many of all the things we do, I mean, one area HR really ends its stripes is in building talent pipelines that actually fuel business growth. No matter how brilliant your strategy is, without the right people to execute it, it's just a theory. It's just theory. Growth is ultimately powered by talent. So our job is to make sure the business never runs short of the people it needs to thrive today and, more importantly, tomorrow. So please permit me if I didn't dwell much on this last one, is because my time is fast running and I want to be able to demonstrate for us yes, this. Can you see this on your screen? I want us to be able to develop this business model canvas. The first thing we look at, the steps, right? Where I wrote it somewhere here. Yeah, value proposition. That's the problems. Okay, I think they are here. Yeah, the problem, the existing alternatives, and then we are looking at the customer segment. Yes, we are looking at early adopters. We are looking at the solutions. We are looking at unique value proposition. All of this that you are seeing on your screen, those are the things we want to work on now. So the first section is the problem. Identify the problem. Now, the objective is to clearly define the core problem your business aims to solve. What is the specific pain points or challenges your potential customers face? and we need to keep it focused and avoid general statements. Now I need to write. So let me move it away from full screen mode so I can write. This is a real workshop. Share. So I'm going to be editing this. I hope that's in order. So I'm going to be editing this. So in the chat room, some of you that are gurus in this also, please let's work out. Let's work together. Let's look at a small business owner, struggling to efficiently track. What can we use now? Struggling to we're trying to create a problem now. Maybe a small business owner struggling to efficiently track and manage employees' time, leading to payroll errors and wasted administrative hours. I think that sounds more like a problem statement. So what did I say now? Small business owners struggling to efficiently, I've forgotten what I said, efficiently track and manage employee time, and this leads to payroll errors and wasted time. Okay, so this sounds like a problem. So let's work on this problem. Let's say this is the problem, the organization, that's the pain points you have discovered, and this is the solution. This is what you are going to build your business model around. Small business owners struggling to efficiently track and manage employees' time, and this leads to payroll errors and wasted time. So this is how you are actually going to write yours. You later transfer this to this lean canvas. So where the problem is now, you are going to write this. This I highlighted, I just wrote now. You put it inside where this problem, the space for this problem, you put it where it is. So number 2, why is the problem significant? That's why is it painful, and what are the consequences of this problem? How does it impact people's lives, works or well-being? What frustration does it cause? So let's copy this and bring it here. Let's copy this and bring it here. I hope you can still see my screen. Okay, great. So this is the problem. Now, why is this problem significant? Why is it painful? Please don't leave me alone on this. So we are solving this together, and I like you to use the chat box. If I let people on mute, we have so many of us on this call, more than 60 people on this call. So if I let you on mute, we won't be able to leave here at the time we want to leave. Okay. So why is this problem significant? This problem of small business owners struggling to efficiently track and manage employees' time, and this leading to payroll errors and wasted time. I think payroll errors will result in employees' dissatisfaction. That's one, and of course, potential legal issues. If you don't give them their due, you meet them in court. Wasted administrative hours, we also divert valuable time from core business activities, and it's going to hinder growth and profitability. So let's capture that. So if I'm the one, I'll say payroll errors results in employee dissatisfaction and potential legal issues. And then for wasted administrative hours, will divert valuable time from core business activities. And it's going to hinder profitability and growth. Going to hinder profitability and growth. And I think the owner of the business will also be stressed if this happens, working longer hours than they should. So the owner is stressed, and is working longer hours than they should. Okay, so this is why the problem is painful. This is why the problem is painful. So you need to capture it. If not, you won't. You're not going to. The business you are creating, the solutions you think you are creating, will not address any pain points. Because what actually makes them cough out resources from their pockets is the pain they want to solve. So if you can't capture it in a concise manner, you are not able to define the pain point. You're not going to get resources. You're not going to make money. You better go and do charity. Even the charity won't work, because a business is not a business until it's able to solve pain points. A business is not a business until it's able to solve pain points. Because of our time, we just leave this here. And then let me move to the next one. I hope how we are doing it. Let me stop sharing and ask. Maybe we should verbalize it, or we should write it. So please let me hear you. Are you sure we'll be able to capture so much typing, or we should just discuss it, and then later we share the video, and you can now fill with whatever it is we discuss here. You will now go and fill your workbook, because if we continue like this, I don't see us leaving this place in the next 30 minutes. Should we just discuss it and later we input it? Now, please make your contribution.
Let's discuss it.
Okay. We should discuss and later input. Okay, great. So we're able to cover a lot of grounds. Excellent. Okay, so let me share the screen so we're able to discuss and later input. Because going this route now, we just consume all our time. Okay, so where are we now? The next one. Problem validation. How have you validated that this problem exists? I learned this while taking the course on UI UX. There was a course on UI UX I took, and Before you design mobile, I'm a product designer. That's one of the things I also do as a side gig. I design mobile applications, etc., etc. So that course that Google taught us, before you design mobile applications, I mean, carry out research to um, know to validate that the pain point you want to solve is actually a pain point. Don't just feel you will put buttons at the center and you feel because that's what you are comfortable with. That's where everybody will be comfortable with. So we need to validate that this problem we have written, this pain point actually exists. And how do you do this? Maybe through interviews, market research, observations. So if you are going to present this to me in my organization, you are going to write there what you did that validated that this problem exists. So here you could say you conducted a number of interviews, with that target audience. Who are the target audience? The target customers, small business owners, where 80% reported, significant time management challenges, and then you analyzed. Another way could be that you analyzed online forums, where business owners frequently discuss payroll frustration, and then you are able to come up with, that's where you came up with these issues, and you are able to present it that yes, you have validated that this pain point is not something you conjured. They are actually real pain points because you have facts and figures to back this up. Industry relevance. How is this problem relevant to your industry and field? If you are not, you don't offer any financial service, and you have been able to identify the problem around inflation, you won't be acting wise to want to solve that kind of a problem because you don't have the resources to do this. You don't have the expertise to do this. So the problem you have identified must be relevant to your field, your areas of strength. It has to align with the area your business will operate in. So if you are in the software space, for instance, let's say that's what you do. Yes, even though you are not an accountant, you don't offer auditing services, financial services, but because you are in the tech space, you can move into fintech, and you are still able to offer services to solve this pain point. So the industry relevance could come this way, that this problem directly impacts the HR technology and business management software industries, where efficient time tracking and payroll solutions are crucial. So you can see you have tied the pain point to the services your business offers. So that way you are not just identifying problems you are not able to solve. If you are not able to solve the problem, it's not going to convert. It won't turn to income generating opportunities for your organization. And then you ask again, how is this HR's problem? Everything is HR's problem, my dear. Everything is HR's problem. So having identified the problem, now we are validating that this problem is a problem and that we're able to solve it. We are still under the problems. And then the fifth, why do you believe your business can solve this problem? So here, you have to be able to explain the connection between the problems and your potential solutions without detailing the solution itself. You can say things like, as a fintech organization, you're identifying this problem, and what are you going to do? You can develop a user-friendly, automated time tracking and payroll software, Abi, that simplifies these processes for our business owners, reducing errors and saving time. Yes, that could be the solutions you are providing to this problem. So now you are done with the problem aspect of all of this. Again, who can help us? I want to see who has been listening. What problem have we identified now? Okay, Aborishade said it's not just a research, but an avenue to solve problems and add to knowledge. Yes, thank you very much. So, what problem are we dealing with now? Let me go back to that problem. Where did I write? Yes, small business owners are struggling to efficiently track and manage employees' time. They can't manage their time. They don't know people clocking in, people clocking out, when people, yes, time and attendance problem. God bless you. You know, and the effect, the impact on organization is that, it's leading to payroll error and wasted time. So time and attendance are problem. So the solution, we want to create a software. We want to create a software. What did we say we will? I think we said we will develop a user-friendly time tracking, that's automated time tracking and payroll software that helps simplify these processes for small business owners, and that will help reduce errors and save time. So the people that will, first of all, that will be the first set of people to adopt this. Now you have identified a major problem. You have weighed it that your organization can solve this problem. Congratulations. You have seen something, a problem, a pain point that will generate revenue for your organization. Congratulations. Now, you will move to the earlier, the existing alternatives. The existing alternatives. And when we are talking about, the purpose of this is to identify and understand the existing solutions or alternatives that your customers are currently using to address the problem you have identified. What companies or products offer solutions that are similar to what you plan to offer? I mean, these are the most obvious competition that you have. So for the problem we have identified, this time and attendance problem, what companies or products offer solutions that are similar to the HR tech solution that, the fintech, I think it's a HR tech solution, user-friendly, automated time tracking and payroll software that you plan to, I think that the QuickBooks, all of these accounting softwares, Abi, they are already, they are off-the-shelf solutions that are already available. So you are going to note them as your competition. These are the alternatives, T-sheets, Clockify, Deputy, all of these, time tracking and attendance software that, businesses are already using. So number two, indirect competitors. So if people don't have resources, the customers don't have resources to engage these solutions, these high-end solutions, what are the alternatives? What are the workaround alternatives, that your potential customers use to solve the problems? So for some of us that understand this model, please drop in the chat room so it can be, or you can unmute and just talk. I think we are free to unmute at this session, so it becomes more engaging. So what are the workaround alternatives if we are not doing technological solutions? We want to solve these problems. I think manual timesheets, Abi?
Manual timesheets,
Yes,
Excel.
spreadsheets. Yes, God bless you. Excel, and then relying on employee self-reporting and memory. That's not as effective as it should be. But I mean, we are talking about workarounds now. Using generic project management tools, with time tracking features. Example, some of these are still free. Trello, Asana, So these are workarounds to all these high-end solutions that you may not, your organization may not be able to purchase. That's the organizations that have these problems, Neo. So the first existing alternative, the high-end solutions. The second ones, the workarounds or alternatives. Then are there potential customers who are not currently using any solution to address this problem? Are there potential customers who are not even, they are not doing timesheets, they are not doing Excel, they are not, they are not doing the high-end solutions? If so, why? This will help you to understand the size of the potential market and the challenges of creating a new market. So, an example. Who can give us an example? Yeah, POB. God bless you. Personnel onboard sheet. Yeah, thank you very much. Do you know some small businesses don't use any time tracking systems because they believe it's too expensive. They think it's too complicated to set up and use. They don't even realize the extent of their time management problem. And they have very few employees and few, they can manage it in their heads. There are people like that. They don't use any time tracking systems. And I know maybe your organization is in that category too. Some of us that work with small organizations. So that's what you will write here. The reason you are writing all this, you are looking at, you have identified problem. You have seen that you can solve the problem. There's no vacuum in space. The problem exists. Organizations that have this problem are already solving the problems through alternatives. So how are they solving the problems? So these are the various ways that they have been solving the problem. Either they are going with a technological solution, or they are using Excel, or they're not even using any time tracking system, because they believe it's too expensive. So they just manage it in their head. When people come in, they come in. When they go out, they go out. So be it. So that is also another category. Now, number 4, from the customer's point of view, what are the pros and cons of existing alternatives? What are the pros and cons? Manual timesheets. What are the pros and cons? The high-end QuickBooks. What are the pros and cons? I mean, I think manual timesheets are low cost but very time consuming. Abi? And they are prone to errors.
Prone to errors.
Yes.
Real, as in real errors, human error, or should I say deliberate error? That is manipulation, fraud, that type of thing.
Yes. And then what about the high-end, solutions like QuickBooks,
After sales support might be a challenge.
Yes.
After sales support modification, if you need to tweak it maybe to suit some peculiarity in your system, that modification might be an issue. Also, the level of literacy of your workforce. If your workforce is not very computer literate,
if they're not tech driven, tech savvy, that's it. So you are going to list all of these pros and cons, and that's what you will use to carve your value proposition, your unique value proposition. What your solution is offering that is not found, in all of these solutions, both the high end and the low ends. So why all of this is important is because you are going to use all of these conversations, all of these things you have discovered to craft your value proposition and your unique value proposition. What's a unique value proposition? A unique value proposition is among all the value propositions you have listed, which one is peculiar to you that your competition, both direct and indirect, are not able to offer? So once you've understood the loopholes, the QuickBooks, they are expensive, the timesheets, they are, they are time consuming, prone to errors. You just list them. So you are criticizing this one for being too slow, you are criticizing this one for being too expensive, and then you come up with your own solution that is not prone to error and that is not expensive. Shall you see now? So that's how you will how you are going to break into the market. It must be better than what is already available in the market. So let's move. What might make customers hesitant to switch from their current way of doing things to your solution? So when you identify these barriers early, it can help you develop strategies to overcome them. So let's go ahead. Okay, lost man has due to errors. Thank you very much. Olabode is really helping us. So yeah, what are the solutions to this? What might make customers hesitant to switch from their current ways of doing things to your solution?
The price point.
Yes.
The cost of the solution. Another thing is conversion. So again, like we said, if your environment is not very high tech, just that headache of moving from a manual way to an automated way.
Learning curve.
Curve causing concern. And then the things that go along with that concern, which is loss of time, because there'll be a loss of time until people can scale up. There might be loss of customer, so to speak, while people are still fumbling their way around the system, things of that nature. Another thing might be just people reluctant to change, because in chaos. So for example, if you have a manual system where people can clock in, can write that they came at 8 when they came at 9, people don't want now to be in a situation where they could be easily caught or audited.
Nobody wants change. Nobody wants to embrace change. Everybody wants to maintain status quo because they are profiting from the fraud.
The chaos. Yeah.
Yes.
From the chaos of the situation. So that's what I thought for now.
Yes, that's fantastic. So we are going to list all of this. What might make customers hesitant to switch from their current way of doing things to your solution. So if you're able to, itemize all this, then you're able to prepare your defense. Prepare your defense. So that's what your sales and marketing team will actually speak to. If not, all of these issues you are raising now, you will still meet it. Your sales team will meet it when they go sell the product. So next, customer segments. We said our objectives to identify and describe the specific group of customers who experience the problem and are most likely to use your solution. So based on the problem described in the previous section, what is the broad group of people or businesses that experience this problem? So the ones, which one are we working on now?
I think we said small business owners.
Yes. Small business owners struggling to efficiently track and manage employees' time, leading to payroll errors and wasted time. So who are the target customers now?
The small and medium business, the small scale.
God bless you. Yes, let's just leave it at that broad level. Small business owners. Shike now, right? So we move on. Specific target customers. Now, here you are refining the broad group into a more specific segment. What are the key characteristics of these customers? The experience, that's the customers who experience this problem and are most likely to pay for the solution. You can effectively reach through marketing and sales. So we have said the broader group is the small business owners, but let's be specific now. Who can give me an example of how to coin this to make it more specific?
Off the top of my head, I would say maybe people that have organizations that work a shift model.
Mm-hmm.
So they
Yes,
might
you're
be
correct. Yes.
organizations that work a shift model. So maybe
Mm-hmm.
manufacturing, production, that kind
Mm-hmm.
of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Which also brings us to another area of resistance, because normally this will have many people. It's a very manual type scenario. Even when you have automation, you have packers and pickers and loaders and that type of thing. So the bulk of people, it might be discouraging to them. Oh, so many people, how can we put them all on a platform? How is it going to work? How much is it going to cost? So people that work with shifts. The second group and hospitals to also work with shifts, those kinds of places. Another group of people are maybe people that have a very dispersed and maybe mainly remote setup. So if your workforce is mainly remote, or you do a high level of hybridization, it's going to be like, well, we know that some people, they are off some days, they are on some days. What's the point of tracking them? But you do need to track them, because the fact that somebody is not in the office unless they're on leave doesn't mean they're not working. How do you know they are working?
Yes.
So there should be a solution that can speak to that.
And that you should be able to track.
Yeah.
But remember, Iggy, I hope
Yeah.
it's Iggy, this is Iggy's voice.
Yes, it is.
So remember we said, let's not mix this thing. Look at the problem. Small business owners struggling to underline small business owner.
Yeah.
Now, when we came to the customer segment also, we started the broader one. We said it's going to be small business owners, full stop.
Yeah.
So when we start expanding it and, going more deeper, granular, is still within that small business owner. But now, there's a level you go that just writing small business owner becomes broad.
Yeah.
You understand? Because we have so many, some of them you have talked about. So whatever conversation we are going to have, whatever suggestion we are going to make, has to still be within the context of that small business owner.
Okay. So let's say small shops where people need to come in on time. You need to know when they're in. You need to know how long they've been. You need to know when they're out. And then again, like I said, maybe companies that have a high level of remote work or hybridization type approach to work. So maybe your small IT firms, those type of things.
Yes. So you list that as your customers. You could also target small business owners, maybe with 5 to 20 employees, particularly those in the service industry, maybe retail, restaurants, small contractors, a host of others, you can play around with. Yes, I'm seeing your conversations, your suggestions, your comments. Olabiro, resistance to change, retail business owners. Peter John said supermarkets. Yes, you are correct. Supermarkets is still within that range, but now we are going granular now. So next, still under the target customers, we want to define the customers. Now we've defined the problem, we've defined the key, the pain points, we've defined, the competition. That's our competitors, and why customers may not want to patronize us, the alternatives they have. Now, what are the key characteristics of these customers, especially the ones we have gone granular with? So we need to describe this target customer in details, and include relevant characteristics such as their demographics, etc., etc. Let's not, we won't bore ourselves with this. Just, I know you know what to do. So those conversations you've had, if it's people managing remote workforce, just go more granular, describing them in details, psychometrics, psychographics, attributes, values, attitudes, interests, behavioral attributes, how they currently address the problem, their decision-making process, their job types. Just be granular about who you are actually targeting. It's going to help your marketing and sales team. Then customer motivation. Why is solving this problem a high priority for your target customers? What are their main motivations for seeking this solution? You need to also write them. because you're going to need them. Example, you can say solving this problem is high priority because it's going to reduce their stress and workload. It's going to help them save time, and money by reducing payroll errors, Do you know what you're actually writing? Value proposition. You're writing value proposition. And it's going to help them comply with labor laws and avoid potential legal issues. It will improve employee satisfaction and reduce turnover. I think the moment we finish these target customers, we will just stop. If God helps us to meet another day, we will look at the rest issues. Then you define, you reach the customers. How are you going to reach your customers? What marketing and sales channels will you use to connect with them? So let's deal with this and then we stop here. We'll stop here because of our time. We have overshot. We are 4 minutes beyond 8. So let's just hang around and finish these target customers, and then we take a decision. If we need to meet again to finalize this, we'll meet again. If the workbook I've shared is sufficient, we just work with the workbook on our own. So how do we reach the target customers?
Okay, I guess we can start obviously with direct sales. So targeting the people, the organizations around you that fit your criteria.
Excellent.
So start with that direct marketing. You can then go on to things like email marketing once you've met them, or if by some way you can get information on them, contact details. You start with your emailing, the marketing. If you've got that kind of money, you can go into your digital marketing, look for, what's the word that they use now? People you can partner with, organizations. I don't want to use the word influencers. Channels and platforms and people that are of like mind, or where the people that you're trying to target will go. And you can begin to place your ads there. You can begin to engage them in their forum. You mentioned before, if you can find a way of penetrating their forums, WhatsApp groups, Facebook groups, whatever it is, those kinds of forums, if you can find ways of penetrating them, you go in there and you begin to, engage. Start off with maybe some kind of survey, start off maybe with an offer of a demo, start off with an offer of, okay, we'll come into your shop, so to speak, and set up like a demo system for you, try it out for a week or two, let's know what you think, things of that nature.
Okay, thank you very much. But why this is important? Of course, I appreciate, your perspective, but why this is important is we need to write this down so that when you get to that bridge, you are not thinking of what to do. You have already written down what to do. You can only improve on it.